All right, folks, I'm talking to Tommy, who's going to tell us about a sighting he had in Edmonson County, Kentucky, about 35 years ago. Tommy, if you don't mind, in as much detail like you did just a moment ago, tell us this story, please, what you saw.
I was 15 years old when I went down to the river to go fishing. I sat there for about 15 minutes, and then I heard a tree limb breaking across the river, and I thought a limb was going to fall out of the tree. And a Sasquatch fell out of the tree and hit the river. We swam about 60 foot up the river. As we got up and started running backwards, it was me and my cousin. As I run up the boat dock, I kept my eyes on it. And as I was watching him, he swam just like a human. He was turning his head back and forth, swinging his arms out of the water like a human. As he got on down the river just a little piece, kind of at an angle to me, I looked through the brush and I was keeping my eyes on him pretty good. He climbed up the bank. He put one arm up on the top of the bank. He put one leg into the side of the bank. And then he just scurried up to the top of the bank.
Wow.
Just real easy and simple looking. And the bank was probably 4, maybe 5 foot above his head. And I knew a human couldn't do that because I fell in the river myself and I had to have help getting out of it.
Right.
And then once he got up to the top, he kind of just stood there with his back to me, and then he turned and he looked back down towards the direction where we was sitting at when he fell in. So that right then told me that he knew we was there because he looked straight back down to see if we had moved. And then I watched him turn just so slowly as he kind of trotted off, and I watched him go until he was out of sight. But he was about 7.5 foot tall. He was built like a bodybuilder. He had muscles all underneath his hair. I could tell every muscle that he had. He had big shoulder muscles. His shoulders was probably like 3.5, 4 foot wide. They was like that. And it kind of tapered down just like a bodybuilder until it got down to his waist. And his legs was big. He was hairy all over. He was white. It looked like his wrist was almost as big as his upper arms. He was so big. It was like all one size. He had hair about that long. And his hair came down off the side of his head like this. His face was kind of flat looking with a wide nose. And his skin was almost like a grayish, dark grayish color.
Wow.
Couldn't really tell his eyes too much. I know they was like big sockety. Couldn't tell his mouth. I didn't see much in his mouth, but he did have like a real long, wide mouth. I could tell that.
You said one interesting thing about when he got out of the water about his hair. Tell her that.
When he got out of the water and stood up on the bank and turned, the first thing I really noticed was how big he was, how muscular he was, and that his hair looked like it was dry.
His hair looked like it was dry already.
Looked like it was dry, just like he hadn't even been in the water. And then I noticed when he did start running, his hair was bouncing like it wasn't wet.
Wow.
So.
And what color did you say it was?
It was white, solid white.
Solid white.
Solid white.
And this was about 35 years ago when you were 15.
Yes, sir.
And today you're 50?
Today I'll be 50 in January.
50 in January. Tommy, can't thank you enough. Appreciate you sharing this with us.
Thank you, sir.